Hello, and welcome to Tell the People, a program about our Catholic faith with news and information in and around the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette. I'm Stephanie Bernard. In today's show, we'll have an interview with seminarian and transitional deacon Neil Pettit as he prepares for his last year before priesthood. Father Michael Champagne's talk is about envy in the segment, What It Means to Be Catholic. And in a conversation with Bishop Michael Jarrell, Monsignor Richard Green interviews Bishop Jarrell about the church and politics, part 1 of 2. And now Catholic news on this July 22nd weekend. The Friends of Charlene Richard would like to remind everyone that the annual Mass, a petition marking the death of Charlene Richard, will be held at St. Edward's Church in Richard on Friday, August 10th. The Rosary will be prayed at 4:45 p.m. Father Michael Shea will celebrate Mass at 6 p.m. This year's Mass will mark the 53rd anniversary of the death of Charlene Richard, a local girl who died of leukemia at age 12. Since her death, thousands have visited her grave to pray for intercession, leaving behind written prayers, photos, flowers, and other precious items belonging to the ones for whom they pray. The Community of Jesus Crucified encourages everyone to mark their calendar for the following upcoming retreats, which will be held at Our Lady of Sorrows Retreat Center in St. Martinville. 2 Men of God retreats have been scheduled for the weekends of August 10th through the 12th and November 30th to December 2nd. Both of these silent retreats will be presented by Father Michael Champagne and will focus on helping men to better understand and respond to their baptismal call to holiness in their state of life. Members of the Community of Jesus Crucified will also conduct a free Women of the Eucharist retreat during the weekend of October 19th through the 21st. The retreat will include quiet time to pray, opportunities to celebrate the sacrament of reconciliation, Mass, adoration of the Eucharist, and free time to stroll through the retreat center's beautiful grounds. Our Lady of Sorrows Retreat Center in St. Martinville will host a Come and See Day of Recollection on Saturday, August 18th from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. This retreat is for those who would like answers to the questions: what is religious life? What is a sister? What is the difference between a priest and a brother? How do religious live? How does one become a religious? What is a consecrated virgin? How do I discern? Participants will learn more about the consecrated life, including the life and mission of the Community of Jesus Crucified. There's no cost or registration necessary, and those who attend should bring a brown bag lunch. Mass and the opportunity for confession will be offered. Fathers Jude Halfin and Neil McNeil would like to invite all married couples to join them for a special married couples retreat on board the Holland American cruise ship. The 7-day cruise is scheduled to depart from Seattle, Washington on September 22nd, with ports of call in Alaska and British Columbia. Space is limited, and early booking is recommended to ensure accommodations. Additional information, including rates, may be obtained online at www.globaltracktravel.com. Coming up next, we'll have an interview with seminarian and transitional deacon Neil Pettit.
Welcome to Tell the People. I'm Trista Littell, and with me here today is Neil Pettit, Deacon Neil Pettit.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you, and we want to know more about you. Can you tell us about your family life and maybe where you went to school in your early days?
Certainly, certainly. I grew up in Lafayette. Both my parents are from Lafayette, and we still live in Lafayette. I have an older sister who's 2 years older than me, and we all went to Lafayette High and went to public schools in Lafayette up until then. And then she was at UL. Whenever I graduated from Lafayette High, I went to UL for 1 year before transferring to the seminary. And then I have a younger brother who's 3 years younger than me, and he also went to Lafayette High and then UL and just graduated.
Well, when did you become interested in the priesthood?
Really, throughout high school, I thought about it on and off, but certainly during my freshman year at UL, started praying more for the first time, probably really asked God what he wanted me to do with my life. And it was from there that I started taking different steps to kind of more actively think about the priesthood as God was placing that on my heart at that time.
Were you involved in any group that prayed together there?
Mm-hmm. Throughout high school, I had some wonderful Catholic friends, and we would pray together. And then moving into college, I got involved at the Newman Center at UL, really saw Father Chester Arsenault, who has been the campus chaplain at UL and also pastor of Our Lady of Wisdom, is now the rector of the cathedral. Really saw him embody the heart of Christ, and in the way he fully gave himself in service to the students there. And then also grew closer to my pastor at St. Mary's, Monsignor Roby Robichaud, and also a wonderful priest, Father Joseph Brennan, lives down the street from my parents after he retired from parish life.
So my next question would have been that who was your inspiration to enter the priesthood? So
it was probably a combination of those three. As I grew deeper in my faith life and in prayer and drew closer to the Lord through frequenting the sacrament of reconciliation and penance, and as well as started going to daily mass when I was in college at UL, and then kind of started to see the different gifts that those three priests brought to the priesthood and offered their services. It was really those three that inspired me.
Well, what seminaries have you attended, and if you want to tell us anything about seminary life?
I attended 2 different seminaries, currently in my second. I went to my freshman year of college at UL and then transferred to the seminary as a sophomore. So I spent 3 years at St. Joseph's Seminary in Covington, run by the Benedictines, commonly known as St. Ben's. And those were 3 wonderful years. I really learned a lot. It was great having the Benedictine aspect of formation. And seeing the Benedictine side of prayer and liturgy was just phenomenal. Really showed a different side to the Catholic Church, which was different because the only type of liturgy and prayer I'd ever experienced was parish life, diocesan priesthood. So it was neat getting to see the religious order side of the Church in that way, such an ancient tradition. And then at the end of my time at St. Joseph's Seminary, the bishop sent me to Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. So I've concluded my 3rd year, and I look forward to going back for my 4th year.
Now, where have your summer assignments been?
Summer assignments have been, my first summer was at St. Thomas More in Eunice. My second summer was at the Cathedral in Lafayette. My 3rd summer was at St. Mary Magdalene in Abbeville. My 4th summer was at St. Peter's in New Iberia, and currently, last summer, at St. Peter and Paul and Scott, and then this summer I'm serving as a deacon for the months of June and July at St. Peter's in Carencro.
Well, you have another year left before you enter the priesthood, so you're now in your transitional diaconate. What will you be doing this last year, and what are you expecting to learn?
In our formation program at the Mount, we do a diaconate internship or summer assignment, but we just work for the months of June and July, and then we return for a full academic year. So I'm very excited about working at St. Peter's in Carencro. It's a large parish, and there's a lot of opportunities for pastoral experience. I'm working under the direction of Father Mark Ledoux and the associate Father Jonathan Janice, so that's really wonderful to see the pastoral heart that they have, and also the care and the need for sacraments. I'm getting a lot of experience preaching, so that's wonderful. A lot of funerals and weddings in the parish, as well as baptism. So I'm getting a lot of sacramental experience, which is great. Very excited about that, since I only have 2 months to work in a parish before I return to school. And then while we're in our 4th year, we work in nearby parishes as deacons. So I work in a parish every other weekend. It's about 40 minutes from school, so I drive to the parish on the weekends, do baptisms. If there's a Saturday funeral, I'll assist at that, and then also deacon the masses and preach. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting more preaching experience, getting more sacramental experience before returning to the diocese and getting ordained a priest next June. But at the same time, we still have a full course load of academics, so we still have our different theology classes that we're finishing up in addition to the different, we call them practicums, where kind of like how to say Mass, different things like that that are kind of more concrete to be ready to hit the ground running whenever we get ordained and get assigned to parishes next summer.
There's a lot to be done in 1 year,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's going to be a full year.
What about anyone entering or considering entering the priesthood? Do you have any advice to offer or any suggestions?
Certainly, there are a number of things that someone who is thinking about the priesthood actively and considering that. One, probably consistency in your prayer life, because it's very easy to think about things like the priesthood whenever our prayer lives are going well. And then whenever we're not consistent in our prayer lives, things like that kind of tend to go away and we get distracted by different things in our daily lives. So consistency would probably be the main thing. I think consistency in your prayer life is the way that people get confidence and clarity in what they think God is calling them to, and also closure and doors kind of close to open other doors in ways that we think God's not calling us to use our own gifts and services that He's given us. So probably consistency in your prayer life. Frequenting the sacraments is certainly necessary for anybody who's considering the priesthood. Going to confession regularly, going to Mass every Sunday, going to Mass during the week, things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities in our diocese for frequent confession. Daily Mass is almost every day. We're really blessed in that sense.
Good.
And so there's a lot of different things.
We certainly thank you for being here today. We will keep you in our prayers, and we'd like to ask the folks to stay tuned because there's more to come on Tell the People.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Father Michael Champart's talk is about envy in this segment, What It Means to be Catholic.
Good morning. Welcome back to Tell the People, to What It Means to be Catholic. Today we wish to complete our series on the 7 capital sins or the 7 capital vices. And today we'll treat the sin of envy. The sin of envy is a very hidden, kind of sick sin. It's a sin that is very secret to ourselves, and it springs from vainglory, from pride, which is the root of all sins. Even though it's a capital sin, like pride, it is really a fruit of pride, and from envy causes many, many, many other sins. That's why we call it capital, along with lust and gluttony and greed and the like. The sin of envy is defined in the Catechism of the Catholic Church in the glossary. It says under envy is sorrow for another's good. And that's taken from St. John of Damascus, St. John Damascene. It continues, resentment or sadness at another's good fortune and the desire to have it for oneself. So it has to do with me. It's in relationship to me. I don't want the other person to have it. I want it for myself. Or I don't want the other person to have the praise. I want it for myself. I am insecure with myself, and I can't rejoice in my neighbor's good, but rather I'm threatened by my neighbor's good. And that's this sick, negative feeling. It's a self-inflicted pain or suffering upon oneself, which we call envy. In the Catechism of the Catholic Church at 2539, we hear, envy is a capital sin. It refers to the sadness at the sign of another's goods and the immoderate desire to acquire them for oneself, even unjustly. When it wishes grave harm to a neighbor, it is a mortal sin. St. Augustine saw envy as a diabolical sin. It's straight from hell. Why? Because it was through envy. It was through the devil's envy that death enters into the world. We die because of the envy of the devil coming into the world, tempting Adam and Eve. So we have